There we are. We are live. There we are. We are live. You know I do that every time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, every single time. So, welcome this evening. It is my sister's heavenly birthday.
Oh, nice.
Yes, I'm excited to be celebrating. She would have been 66 today.
Oh,
And
okay.
so I poured libation, and I believe the rest of the family is going to get together and actually release balloons this evening.
Oh, okay. Yeah, in honor of,
In
right?
honor of, yes, and
Yeah.
they've
Yeah.
been doing that for the past 3 years. So,
Okay.
a nice way for them to acknowledge her. However,
Yes.
we're going to do something a little bit different from that. We're going to continue inside of our conversation of astrology and relationships. But I believe Brother Samir is going to have us add some layers to this play.
Yeah. I'm excited. Whenever I know I have to do something, I never think about how it's going to get done. I just say, okay, if it's something that I'm into, and what generally happens is that the energy and then the order in which it should come and everything else, it kind of just plays itself out.
It just shows up the way it's supposed
It
to.
just shows, yeah, it just shows up. And you have to realize it's not you. You're just the vessel in which it's expressing itself through.
Yeah, that's why I'd like to practice always saying yes to the universe. I really do practice that. Yes, and then see what happens. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Right. Go with the flow.
Go with the flow. Very cool.
Right. Yeah. Just go with the flow. Don't hinder it. Don't try to control it. You don't determine the speed limit. Or whatever. Just go with the flow. So.
Exactly. So
we left off.
I was gonna say, because we have a heavy duty flow tonight. I mean, I was looking at this timeline, and I said, well, we may get through it and we may not, but I'm still excited about what you're introducing. So you were getting ready to tell us what we left out. So we left off. What did we leave off with the last time?
Well, we left off with the musical notes, the band that exists within every person, and how they, that you have to go inside to get to these musical notes, because we all want to know what music we've been gifted with, and I'm speaking metaphorically.
Yes.
So the beauty of this is, people say all the time, I just need a sign. God, show me a sign. Something happens, or they don't understand something, or they want to know what direction they should take. I need a sign. Give me a sign. I just need a sign. And then when it comes to relationships, or something happens like in a friendship, or or at work or whatever, and your radar goes off, and you're not quite sure if you read it the right way, and you kind of you're patient about it, so you wait, because you're waiting for that sign, right?
Yes.
Well, God gave you 19 signs.
19 signs about relationships.
About yourself.
Oh, about myself. Okay.
Yeah, the 19 codes are the 19 signs that you've been given, and these signs are a roadmap to your entire life.
That is so, you know what? And if anyone would like to, let's see, where can I, go ahead, keep talking about it. I'm going to see where I can place this out so people can download. Go ahead.
Right. So, it's your roadmap. And there are endless knowledges that are, or knowledges, I shouldn't say endless probably, but there are knowledges that are contained in this roadmap, and they are all connected to each other. They're not separate. All 19 of them work synergistically, like your whole body has organs, it has blood vessels, it has, bones, it has muscles, has an immune system. All of that works as one body. Mm-hmm. So your 19 codes or your 19 signs that's your sign. God give me a sign. God gave you 19 signs. They're all right there inside of you. And it is your roadmap that's ever unfolding. It's like the one of the most fascinating journeys. What's happening to you in life. Sometimes people say life. It's just that's life. Or sometimes truth is stranger than fiction.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Truth is stranger than fiction. And the newest thing. Well, we've been saying it for some years, but it's been recoined by the late Kevin Samuels. He kind of revived the term of the saying. May he rest in peace. But he coined the term. You can't make this up. Mm-hmm. You can't make this stuff up. And so, I want to touch on the reason why people cheat. The reason why they cheat.
That's what we're going to start?
Well, we don't have to start there.
No. Let's go ahead. Let's start there.
You have questions? You have questions you want to ask me?
No, let's start there. Why people cheat? Because if you can help us out with that in the cards, we would definitely want that. So come on.
You're not going to believe the answer if I told you.
No?
No, you're not going to believe it.
Okay, well, I want to hear the answer.
The reason that people cheat is because they wanted to.
What? I was about to go, duh.
They wanted to cheat. Now, what was the reason they gave themselves for cheating? Or what they thought the cause of them going to another person was? That's a whole nother different thing. But the real reason is because they wanted to. Now, why did they want to? Mm-hmm. Well, they wanted to because we are, and this is why people are addicted to sex so much. And this is the reason why what people are looking for in another person is because we are addicted to drugs. Every human being that you see is a drug addict. Everybody is a drug addict. And so the theory is that the universe started with the Big Bang. Boom. Right?
Right.
Okay. That's an explosion. Whenever new neurons are created in your brain, boom, those are explosions going off. Whenever you have an orgasm or reach a climax sexually, that's an explosion inside of your body.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So when you learn, when you taste food, or when you hear music, or you see a movie, or whatever the case may be, these are explosions of different chemicals being released in your body.
Wow. So that's what makes us a drug addict.
Because we are addicted to the drugs that our body is releasing from the explosions of what's happening to us from day to day. Mm-hmm. And that's why when people don't have certain explosions or a balance of explosions, they resort to drinking or alcohol or excessive sex, because they're chasing a balance through this excessive sex, because they're trying to fulfill other areas that are not being fed with those chemicals. So they're trying to compensate this chemical reaction to eliminate their depression or their loneliness, or their sadness, or their confusion, or their frustrations, or their stress. They want an explosion of chemicals that their body produces to relieve them of that. And so the reason people cheat is because everybody is always searching for a higher high.
Yes.
And you think you found someone who can give you that higher high. It's just like when you're attracted to someone. So there are chemicals, even if it's a mild explosion. Now let's be honest. All of us like firecrackers.
Yeah, fireworks. That's right.
Fireworks. So everybody is anticipating this one little 2-inch thing with this stem, and then you light it, and everybody stand back and watch, and then pow! Right. So these little firecrackers are going off inside of you every day.
Wow.
But then we are looking for the big fireworks that have like 7 to 8 different things that it does before it disappears in the sky.
The finale. That's right. We love the finale. Exactly.
The finale. And the rockets and everything in the different colors. So the first explosion that we see is the way somebody looks to us. When you see something you're attracted to, there are explosions going off. Chemicals are being released now. And then you hope that that person that you saw is also attracted to you. Now there's an increase in explosions going on.
Right.
That's an increase in chemicals. And what does that do to you? That feels good, doesn't it?
Right.
It feels good. And then you investigate, or you meet, or you talk, or you laugh, and then you find out other things about each other. Now the explosions are increasing. And then we're leading up to, everything else in the chart. What you like to do in life. What do you do in life? What are your hobbies? What's your education? Where did you grow up at? We're searching for chemical releases inside of us, and we want to find someone who gives us the most chemical releases throughout our life. And so sometimes when we meet people, they're not fulfilling all of those chemical reactions. So people go out and they go seek it, or they're available to seek it. But, you have a moralistic code, you have a moral compass.
Some people have a moral compass.
Right, some people, right. It's not necessarily, the right thing to do, or, it'll hurt the other person, or it goes against your integrity and everything else. But then if too many of the other chemicals are being released that causes sadness or depression or stress, then we want to escape that, because the other chemicals that we like about that person that they give us is not enough anymore. So we go to find someone who can release those chemicals inside of us that this other person is not doing, or were once doing, and they're not doing any longer.
Wow. So when we have a diminished store of these bing, bang, bangs, right? We then want to go and find someone else, or find something else. It doesn't have to be someone. It could be something else to actually increase that. What are those, the serotonins, endorphins, and all that? Is that part of that scenario?
Yeah, the serotonin, the dopamines, the endorphins, and the oxytocin. Like children, they need chemicals released. So a child accomplishes something, that's a chemical that is released for it being an accomplishment. Then they look to their parents who approve, and they applaud, and they celebrate with that child. There's more chemicals coming out. So you grow up with the healthy type of chemicals, or you can grow up with the wrong type of chemicals. Like some children are battered. Some children, unfortunately, they get, molested or raped. Some children are neglected. Some children they're not loved properly. They're not educated properly. These are chemical manipulations that are going on every day. And so a healthy person is usually somebody who had a healthy, balanced dose of the right chemicals throughout their life. Or they realized that they didn't receive a healthy dose of chemicals, and they went inside to do the work to come to terms with it. and then now they can properly seek out or attract it to them, so that they can be back in balance, because a lot of people are chemically imbalanced and don't know it. It's not just a medical condition that's diagnosed. It is actually a reality with everybody. To some degree, we're all chemically imbalanced.
Well, and then, I'm even thinking about, Samir, all of the activity going on right now with the, I think one of my Facebook friends posted today that there were 2 mass shootings today alone. And we already know there was one yesterday and then the day before. So what type, is that having a chemical effect on that in this same conversation?
Well, everything is affecting you chemically. So the hormone testosterone is what makes a man desire a woman.
Yeah. And
estrogen makes a woman desire a man. Along with other traits, that's what gives us our physical strength and everything else,
Yes.
Estrogen has its role in the body. So there's like world stress that everybody's sharing and dealing with. We're dealing with world stress. We're dealing with world happiness or whatever. So they're trying to manipulate your chemicals inside of you. They're going to tell you every holiday you're supposed to be happy and go spend money.
Yes.
You may find shopping very therapeutic because there's chemicals being released into that. The colors that you see every day, each time you see a color, there are chemicals being released inside of you from visually witnessing that color. Whenever you smell food or smell cologne or perfume, or you can smell certain things that aren't so pleasant. There's chemical reactions in everything. So the mass shootings, of course, that's going to affect a certain type of chemical response in your body. And then, your subconscious and your ways is going to tell you, like, your navigational system, which is your 19 signs, your 19 codes inside of you, your roadmap is going to say that mass shooting affected this part of your 19 codes. And so now the chemical opposite of what you felt, angry, depression, stress, or fear, that has to be removed and then replaced with the proper chemical to bring you back into balance.
Wow. So you now, for people, because most people do not know that they can go inside themselves and restore themselves.
They don't. Right. And that's why we are thankful for people like yourself that cause people to go inside, because there are like easy accessible chemicals that we go to. And the easy accessible chemicals, the number one that we learn that's most gratifying is sexual intercourse.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is the easiest chemical you can have access to. And then you have your smoking or your drinking or whatever. But some people like to dance to music to relieve stress or to bring themselves back in balance. Some people like to just sit and listen to music. They'll dance, they'll dance, or they'll get on the phone and have conversation with other people.
Right.
Or they're in the company with somebody. They may not necessarily have to talk, but just in good company. Or they like to be to themselves. They like to get into their hobby. What people are doing is maintaining the balance of the chemicals in themselves in their day-to-day behavior.
And there's also food.
Food definitely. Yeah, food can change your mood. Yeah, food affects your mood.
Yep.
So, when we're hungry, and especially, you remember when you were a kid, and you ever thought about what you would do if you had $1 million?
No, but go ahead.
If you were a millionaire?
No.
No? Oh, okay. Well, when I was a kid, we used to always, it would just come up randomly, and we would talk about if I was rich, or if I had $1 million, I do this, I do that. Just thinking about it puts you in a certain state of mind because certain types of chemicals started to be released.
We teach that in our visualization process. Visualize.
Right.
Exactly, yes.
So, just with anything else, like when people cheat, it's because they're looking for the ultimate high. They want the ultimate high. And if the desire is strong enough, or if they feel deprived enough, depending upon their character and who they are, then they'll go outside of a relationship because what they're really seeking is all of those chemicals that they need to consider themselves happy or to consider themselves feeling normal. And some people need more chemical doses than others.
That is a lot of good information that you're sharing with us, and it really gives us a strong sense of how responsible you have to be inside of a relationship.
Yes, you really do.
Yes. You cannot be like, because I'm not getting fulfilled, then my first thing is to go outside of the relationship to get this fulfillment. Right?
And so you people cheat because it's several reasons. You may lack loyalty to yourself, so how can you be loyal to another person?
Mm-hmm.
Some people aren't loyal to themselves, so they're not going to be loyal to their children given the right situation. They're not going to be loyal to their significant other given the right situation.
Yeah.
Or it could be something totally different. It just could be that you don't handle stress well, you don't handle problems well, and so you need a drug. So instead of going to the doctor to get a prescription, you run to the natural born chemicals that you have, and you deal with that mixture of emotions and chemicals to bring you back into balance. So this person gets you more than the other person, or this person makes you laugh in ways that the other one doesn't. Or it's just something different about when you're with this person, why you feel this way, because they're releasing different chemicals in you than the one that you're with.
That's deep. I mean, you almost make people. I did a good job today getting people ready to be in relationships, and now look at you.
No, by the way, your show was excellent. I took my goggles and my oxygen tank off 2 minutes before the show started. Because I was still under the water with all that stuff you was laying on us today on the Xavier Fox show. I was over there like, whoa.
Yeah, and we didn't even get
when
through
you're
it.
not patient, it's like you're rushing.
Yeah.
Hey, that was deep. Like I needed to hear that. Like, oh wow, okay.
Rushing into something, and it's a form of fear. It's a form of fear.
It's
like you don't trust.
a form of fear, right? And so the reason so it's like when people check out of a relationship, what they're doing is getting themselves used to shutting down from having to need those chemicals they were getting by being in a relationship with that other person.
Oh, it's like fasting or even detoxing.
It's like fasting.
Mm-hmm.
And the reasons other people are hurt or broken up is because those chemicals are no longer accessible to you. So you are in rehab because you can't get those chemicals you were getting by being with that person.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you're a drug addict. Everybody's a drug addict.
Until you learn how to self-soothe and self-comfort and sustain yourself, right? I mean, because
until you realize that you are the only drugstore you ever need.
Okay, I like that. Personally,
you are the only drugstore you ever need, and you have been properly constructed to give yourself or to have a release of any drug you need naturally in any given situation, but you have to learn how to master your chemical and biological lab that's inside of you.
Wow.
And you master that by knowing yourself, by eating right, finding out, what spiritual practices work for you, whether it's yoga, meditation, Tai Chi. I mean, if it's a religion, if that's what works for you, fine. Spirituality. You have to understand the science of you.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason people are not happy is because they don't know themselves like they think they do.
Yeah.
And so if you don't have real knowledge of yourself, then how can you define what real happiness is for you?
Mm-hmm. Knowledge, and that's why you hear us saying all the time, know thyself. And it's not a point that you get to, oh, I know myself. No, you still need to know yourself even more.
Right.
These whole 19 points. Go ahead.
Right. You have 19
realities. Can I put this up so people can see it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right, let's see if I can share that. Can you see it?
I can see it.
Okay.
So you have 19 aspects that make you who you are. And each one of these has the ability of releasing all of these chemicals, and chemicals can mix with each other at varying degrees according to how you need it, but you got to know how to master it. That's why they tell you, master your emotions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Master your anger. Don't let anger rule you. Don't make a decision when you're mad. Don't be too excessive. You have to even master, your happiness.
Yes.
You have to know, like they say, you got to know when to hold them and when to fold them.
Yeah, because you can get over joyful. That's out of balance too. Too much enthusiasm.
Yeah. So when you become focused, that's a chemical. When you become serious, those are chemicals.
Okay.
When you go silent, or when you're in meditative thought or deep thinking, those are chemicals being released. And so now that you've done that, like a situation may cause you to be over-focused.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you lost your job. You didn't know you were going to get fired. Now you're over-focused.
Trying to figure out the next moves, right?
Yeah, your next move, you're in deep thoughts. But now you're creating a benefit from being that focused because this is survival, but then you're creating an imbalance in the chemicals. So now you have to compensate that. There's going to have to be some laughter. There's going to have to be some relaxation. There's going to have to be some de-stressing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So now can you go over these 19, can you just give us some information about these different behavior codes that you talked about here?
Okay, so your rising sign is at the top. And the reason I arranged it for that to be at the top is because that is your soul's purpose. Mm-hmm. Your soul's purpose is tied into the sign, your roadmap. That's the sign right there, like the bat signal. That's your rising sign. So that's where where you're navigating through life, like the things that are going to happen to you and why they're happening to you is going to start with that rising sign.
Yeah. And let me just interject that last week we did say one of the places you can go and have your natal chart done is on Cafe Astrology. And what you would have to have is your date of birth, the location you were in, and the time of birth. And then you will be able to get all of the information that you would need to fill out this form.
Well, I'll do you one better than that. If you just know your rising, the time you were born, mm-hmm. Okay, all you need is this chart right here, and I'm getting ready to send this to you, and you can post this up.
Well, they're not going to allow me to post it up right now, so I can.
And the reason I'm saying is because if you put in the time you were born on most of those websites, mm-hmm. then the chart can be slightly inaccurate.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Right. It'll be slightly inaccurate. And so I always leave it blank and say the time born unknown. Okay. And there's an actual chart that's like a graph. And it actually breaks down what your rising sign is based on the time you were born. And it's a much simpler form. Now, don't get me wrong. If you want to do it that way, you're free to do it. But I'm just letting you know.
Well, that just answers for the rising sign. But we still need information for all this other, So, but I'm going to still definitely. Post this. So,
So that's the rising sign. And then, so you have that. That's your soul's purpose. Then the day of birth. So you have a personality that's indicative to you based on the day that you were born. Mm-hmm. There's a uniqueness in that day that you were born, that you have a personality based on that day. So your personality you're going to have on this soul's journey is determined by all of these factors that come after this.
Got it.
So then you have a birth card. And that's part of your personality and it's part of your journey, like what's going to happen to you and why. This is all tied into each other. Your blood type carries a personality, and you're going to respond to things or you're going to be drawn to certain foods or certain behavior because of the personality of your blood type.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. The Enneagram is another system of determining personalities. And here's the thing: there's no one personality that we all possess.
Right.
It takes how many ingredients to make a cake?
Oh, several, and depending on what kind of cake you're making.
Exactly.
My favorite is German chocolate, and it takes a lot of ingredients.
That's mine. That's mine too. German chocolate, hands down. Listen, hands down, okay. German chocolate.
And it takes a lot. Icing. Right. Oh.
Yeah.
Right. I could eat a whole cake. I have to put it in the freezer. Right.
Yeah. That's old school right there. Right. So my point is, when people say their personality, they don't understand that your personality is made up of several things. 19. To be exact. Mm-hmm. There are 19 things that make up your personality. And they have some other outside, because your personality is also, it takes other ingredients, like you have 5 chambers in your heart, and those are 5 realities in your heart, your soul. Those are different chambers in your heart. There are 5 of them spiritually. And then you have your bloodline, your family, how you were raised. So all of those things also affect your personality. But on a basic level, what makes up your personality are these 19 codes. And these 19 codes are your rising sign, your day of birth, your birth card, your blood type, your Enneagram, your life path, which is very important because you go from your soul's purpose and then your life path. And you will see that when you study your life path and you study your rising sign and your Enneagram and your personality on your day of birth, you're going to see how all of that matches up. You're going to be like, wow, that's me. Yeah. This is accurate.
Oh, yeah. It's very accurate.
Right. Okay. And then you have your sun, which is your outward personality. This is the personality you show the world. Mm-hmm. When people see your face, the way you dress, your outer appearance, the type of car you choose, the color of the car, how you decorate your house, that is your sun sign. That's your outward personality. Then you have your moon sign, which is your inner personality, which is how your mind works. Mm. That's how your mind operates. That's your inner personality, your thought process, how you process information, how you process certain things. That's your moon. That's your inner personality.
Right.
So people talk about their sign, their outward sign, and think that the way they think is based on that. Unless it's a double of the same sign, then no, it's not. So if your sign is Capricorn and your sun, but then, you know, you have something like Taurus as your moon, well, your mind is going to process stuff like a Taurus.
Yeah.
You might be a Capricorn on the outside, but that mind of yours is processing things like a Taurus. So that depends on the moon. So then from there you have your Mercury, and that's your communication, how you communicate. Then you have your Mars, which is anger and aggression, and how you have sexual expression. You have your Venus, which is what you seek out in a lover and how you express love. And then you have your Mars, which is your anger and aggression, and the way you express your intimacy. Then you have so on and so forth, your Jupiter, then you have your Saturn, your Uranus, your Neptune, your Pluto, your Lilith, which is your dark side, your dark secrets, the negative traits about yourself, why you do things that you don't know why you did them, but you need to embrace that because that's part of you.
That's so interesting because my Lilith Pisces, and my mother is a Pisces or was Pisces, and it's so interesting that by her being put in a mental institution when I was younger, it took me into darkness, but it also gave me my mission.
Yeah.
It was part of my initiation into this work because it made me go inside. It made me go into myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was really great. Mm-hmm.
And your ascending node is the lesson you're supposed to learn in this life. Mm-hmm. So there's something about that sign that you're supposed to learn from that sign, or the way that sign is or it carries itself. You're supposed to learn that, and that's what your ascending node is for. And then your Chinese sign, which is based on the year you were born, and the Chinese have either a friendship compatibility or they have a neutral compatibility, or they have a love compatibility or a complementary. Mm-hmm. They have complementary. Mm-hmm. And so you can either get with somebody that's complementary to you or someone that's friend. Like some people are in a relationship and they have tight friendships.
Yeah.
It's like this, they feel like they're married to their best friend. Well, if you feel like you're married to your best friend, check your Chinese sign. Your Chinese signs may say that you all make best friends.
Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean they shouldn't be married, right?
Well, I'm not saying in every case, but, it'd be interesting to check that out.
Okay.
So, and then your primal, which is dependent upon your sun sign and your Chinese sign in combination, those two combined also have another aspect of personality. So your very first and your American sun sign or the Greek sun sign, and then your Chinese sign combined has another personality that it produces. So it's actually 20 listed, but because primal is dependent upon two of those, it's 19.
So now what you're saying with this particular chart is that we can do this work to write down the codes for ourselves and then write down the codes for a potential partner?
That's correct. Or if you just want to know if somebody is going to be good with you as a friendship.
Yeah, so you can write down.
Why do you get along with your parents or don't get along with your parents or other siblings? Oh, that's
great. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. You can do it for anybody.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily have to be for a significant other, but it can be anybody in general.
Yeah, and I like the idea that so when the matching signs and type and numbers, you can actually put the different ones that would actually be a match for you. Say, for instance, if I'm a Capricorn, my match for Capricorns would be another Capricorn, a Taurus, a Virgo, right? Those are earth signs, right?
Those are correct. You will have all of the earth signs, and then you will have all of the water signs.
Okay. So that's quite a few.
Right. So that would be either 5 or 6, depending upon how you look at it. Because some people, same signs don't necessarily get along.
Okay.
Yeah, it's there's some same signs that just don't get along. But another sign with the same elements as yours, then yes, definitely, that could be a match.
Okay.
But again, each one of those matches is going to set off certain chemicals, and that's based upon who that person is, where they are in their journey, how much they have, done the work inside, what they were exposed to. Are they healthy mentally, spiritually, or they're not healthy? You can meet someone that's compatible with you, but they just kind of messed up, so it doesn't work. It doesn't work because they're damaged or they need work, and they're not who you need them to be right now, or you're not who they need you to be right now.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier too with Dr. Fox, because sometimes you meet people that become a catalyst for you to do the work, because you realize, wait a minute, I like this person, but I know that there's something off because I haven't did what I needed to do. And even
Right.
with your children, when you're not getting along with your children, you can look and see, what did they come here to teach me that I'm missing? Because so many times we try to get them to do what we want them to do, but actually they've come here to help us to grow and to learn and to change as well.
Right, and I understood that one of the things that was in my face that I didn't realize, but I didn't realize the magnitude or the depth of what it was, because I didn't have this knowledge. But I was the child that was supposed to show my mother love.
Wow.
There was a need for her to feel love that she didn't get. And so it was based on me, because when I started hugging my mother more and hugging her through her fussing and kissing my mom and being glad to see her, it affected the whole family, because that's all she kept talking about.
And it made a difference. So you did get to a point where you were able to do that, though, right?
I was able to do that, but because I wasn't familiar with the level or the magnitude of the work that I needed, my mom I didn't realize how sick she was or deprived of something that she was supposed to get, because you don't think like that when you're a certain age, that you're here to give somebody, an adult, especially a parent. Mm-hmm. And my mom was still swimming in her negativity and her frustrations and her anger and, doing some things that just weren't necessarily agreeable. But it was when I had interacted with my mom and started loving her and hugging her, but I didn't realize the work ahead of me that it took to pull her out of it. So I retreated from that because I felt like I couldn't take it no more. It's like this is a useless case. But now in hindsight, I realized that's what I was supposed to give my mother.
Wow. That's really, so now the information that people need, where can they find it so that they can complete this form?
Well, you could basically, like that book that I mentioned in the last show, the only astrology book you'll ever need. All of this stuff is in this book to a degree. The only thing that you will not find in that book is going to be your day of birth, personality, your birth card, your blood type, your Enneagram, and your life path. And the Chinese sign, and the primal, I'm sorry. So you'll find the neonatal chart and your rising sign in there. The rest of it, you can either purchase the book to it, for it, or you can go online and just type it in. And, search more than one website. Don't get stuck on just one. Search more than one website and try to see what several different ways. And a lot of people don't like to read that much. They want to kind of like zip through it real quick. But if you're serious about really knowing this stuff and knowing like why you're here and then why you feel the way you feel and how you are blessed and gifted with your own chemical laboratory inside of you, and what you need to do to manipulate that, to release those chemicals as needed.
It's
do the work.
That's right, because this to me is the curriculum for 4th, 5th, and 6th graders, right?
Yes, it should have been taught to us at that age.
It should have been taught to us at that age. Not reading, but not so much of it that we don't understand or understand the importance of knowing how to read. If I can get that knowledge pours into me through reading, I may take it on a little bit more deeper. I might get excited about it, right? So if I'm finding out that my sun sign or my rising sign tells me my life purpose, imagine a conversation at the dinner table with that.
Right. At 5.
Oh, guess what I learned? Yeah.
Right. That begins to shape your mind the way it's supposed to be shaped. That begins to put the thoughts, which releases the chemicals, and then you start to grow into that until you discover it or you become the master of it. So by the time you are done with adolescence and you become an adult, or what they consider to be an adult at 21, and you started this when you were 5,
you would know who you are and you would make better choices.
Can you just imagine the look on your face at 21 and you knew this at 5?
Man, let me tell you. I bet you wouldn't be self-comforting with alcohol and cigarettes and marijuana.
No, you would not. Or would you overindulge in excessive sex either.
Or food.
Yes. You wouldn't have any addiction. Everything would be in balance and harmony, no matter what it was. And you would attract something exactly like that. It'd be rare, but here's part of the roadmap, the journey. Mm-hmm. That's when, the way that you are, now you got to fly across the ocean to go find your mate. Because the only other person that's like you in your time or that's in your age category or just perfect for you, not the only other person, but the one of the best people, that person. So now you have a job and then now you're overseas, or you took a vacation and you go overseas, or something happened, and you went overseas and then you met the love of your life.
And sometimes that's why we get those notions go, just go. Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, all of that plays a part, like your Enneagram. Let's say if your Enneagram is the number 2, the helper. Mm-hmm. So you're going to get a constant release of drugs, chemicals in your body by helping people.
Wow.
Because that's what you do. So you're more than likely going to be altruistic. Mm-hmm. And because of that, you get a pleasure out of it. Mm-hmm. Whereas most people, or some people, they don't have that in their chart. They could care less. They drive right past somebody that needs help, whether it's a homeless person or somebody who got a flat tire, whatever the case may be.
Right.
Or it's different from them because they're not wired to take pleasure from that. But somebody who's a helper, and so if you have this journey to go and to turn darkness into light, then if you have a Enneagram of 2 of the helper, and your rising sign says that you're supposed to turn darkness into light, that means that once you come out of that darkness and into the light, you can't wait to help bring other people out their darkness, because that's your nature. You're number 2. You're a helper. You want to help them come up out of it. Mm-hmm. So that's all of it is connected.
Yeah, I can hear all of that. And the Capricorn in me, right? And mm-hmm. the INTJ in me is inside of how do we, create this in such a way that people can immediately access this information. I mean, can you just a Saturday class just to sit through this form and go through the form and answer the questions for people so that they can get to themselves and then potentially find a mate, because most people are skipping the whole piece about know thyself.
They are. And that's just it. We want the drugs. We don't want the knowledge.
We want the drugs. We don't want the knowledge.
We don't want the knowledge. We want the drug. I want to feel good. I want to go have some fun. I want to go laugh. I want to be in some good company. I want to run to those things that give me those chemical releases or causes those chemical releases to be in my body. But people don't want to sit with themselves, and they don't realize that if you want that stuff that, you know, they made illegal, you know, you want them drugs that, you know, they pay top dollar for, you know, you want that good stuff, then you got to go inside of you to get it.
Man, because that whole natural high is a real thing.
Yes, it is. It's a real thing.
It's a real thing, okay?
Yeah, I know. I'm living it.
Yes, me too.
I'm living it, you know, and don't get me wrong, like anything else, that human nature, we have our moments, but for the most part, and guess what? I'm not even going to consider myself the master of that chemical lab that's in me that releases all these drugs that come out of my body. I'm exploring it, and I am a witness to it, but I'm still learning. You know, I'm still learning, and now, like when someone's attracted to me, or, you know, vice versa, I have to think about where am I at in my self-improvement and in my chemical releases as to why this person was drawn to me, or I'm drawn to them. Or sometimes, like you said, it may be for one of us to help the other to elevate height.
Yeah, that brings me to the next question, the importance of waiting to see why people have come into your life.
Oh, yes. I've been saying that for years. Years and years and years, that just because you're in the market to be with someone and you're single and someone of the opposite sex shows up doesn't mean that you all are necessarily supposed to be in a relationship.
Or an intimate relationship.
An intimate relationship, right. Yes. An intimate relationship. Let me clarify that. It doesn't mean that they're necessarily supposed to be in your life for intimacy.
Right.
And people take it as, oh, I met someone. Okay, but who did you meet? Did you meet your next lover, or did you meet your next best friend, or did you meet a business partner?
Right.
Or you just met somebody you supposed to leave at work. The only time y'all communicate is at work, because y'all good for each other at work, but outside of work, you're not. Who did you meet?
Yeah.
Or did you meet, you know, Norman Bates and don't know it?
Or what's the lady from the did the bunny rabbit in the pot? What's Fatal Attraction? Yeah, you know.
Right. So you know, who did you meet? So, but that's the question, you know, and they don't know who they met because they don't know who they are. You know, and that's a journey. And don't get me wrong. There's no, like, going to the grocery store and you're there. Knowing who you are is like swimming in the ocean. You're going to always keep learning about yourself. There's some destination you reach. There is no destination to knowing yourself. The journey of knowing yourself is still a journey.
Yeah, because you change every day if you're actually doing the work, you know.
It's ongoing.
You
have no idea what type of secrets have been placed in you, but they're not just going to be revealed to you because you want them to. And a lot of them you're not ready for them, and they would do more harm than good if you knew about them. Yes. So you gotta show that you're responsible, you're mature, and you're ready to handle all of that. Because that's with that comes those really, really, really good drugs.
Mm-hmm.
You got to know how to handle that euphoria, and you got to know how to handle being able to make people release certain levels of drugs inside of them.
And you know, in our society, so much of this knowledge has been suppressed that people really do think that they get to a point based on how much money they have or their status, how many degrees, PhDs, and everything. They think that equates to this knowledge, and it does not.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
And see, that's the thing about the powers to be, as we say. They're trying to tell you what drugs to be addicted to.
Yep.
You have a whole chemical lab inside of you, and they're telling you that you should get dopamine only from having money, or you should get endorphins or oxytocin only from having sex, or you should get, serotonin only from smoking marijuana or whatever.
Right. Or if you get bored, just go sign up for another college course for $20,000-$50,000, and then you'll be, instead of studying yourself.
Right. And sometimes studying yourself requires external activity.
Yeah.
That's why some people have to take martial arts, or they take yoga, or they go hiking or camping.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about sitting somewhere in the corner meditating.
No.
Or being alone. It's an expression.
Yes.
And if you're not fully expressing or learning how to express yourself, you have to have the inner knowledge and you have to have the outer knowledge. People have outer knowledge of themselves. They know what they like to eat. They know what their favorite color is. They know what kind of car they have, like what they like to drive. They know how they like to dress. They know what kind of music they like to hear. That's outer knowledge. That's external knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have any knowledge of your inner knowledge.
Yeah.
Because people don't want to do the work.
You remember used to be a phrase, what makes you tick?
Yeah.
And for some reason, we've gotten away from that. We've gotten away from going internally, going inside.
We've gotten away from it, yes. And that's why so many things can easily upset somebody or agitate them or set them off, or they have a bad moment and their whole day messed up.
Mm-hmm.
I met people like that. It takes them a long time to regroup from that. That's because you don't know yourself. You are dealing with external knowledge. You don't have internal knowledge.
Yeah.
When you have internal knowledge, then you may have a moment, you get it out, and then you back to normal again.
Yeah.
But it doesn't affect you like that so deeply. Oh, now I need a drink. Oh, now I don't feel like being at work. I'm gonna call off, or I'm gonna take the rest of the day off. Or now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes life happens, and you might just need that just may be where you at. But you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's why people cheat.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, and we are walking around here chemically imbalanced, and we are addicted to the internal drugs that our body releases. Just like when you take a drug, it's not the drug that's really getting you high. It's how that drug causes your body to release the DMT in your pituitary gland.
Mm-hmm.
So we're addicted to how that that drug affected your body and the chemicals that it caused your body to release. The high is you. You are the high.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Are
that. That's a T-shirt.
Yeah, you are the high.
Well, another T-shirt. Get high on me, right?
When you have a drug overdose, when you have a drug overdose, you had an overdose of the chemicals that were already in you that came out too much beyond your capacity to hold.
Which goes back to what you were saying before. Sometimes if you do not take time to sit with this knowledge, you can't go to the next level that quick because you haven't demonstrated that you can handle it.
Well, see how life is set up?
Yeah.
Life is set up for a certain way. That's why we have grades.
Yeah.
What grade are you in? First.
Mm-hmm. And you
I'm
learn certain
grade.
things in first grade.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can't leave until you finish with first grade.
Yeah.
You can't leave until you finish with second grade. Yeah. But then you can't go back because it feels awkward going back because now you've passed all of second grade. You're ready for third grade. Now you're ready for fourth and fifth, all the way, and you just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
You keep going. That's why the military has ranks. That's why the martial arts have belt systems. You have to grow into you.
Yes.
But some people grow up without themselves.
Well, I certainly grew up without myself. I couldn't figure it out for the life of me, and so grateful that I had people around me that could see it in me and would know, get her some knowledge so that she could go to the next level because this is what she's supposed to be doing. And even though they didn't use those words because there was no time that I looked like I was failing at life because as a Capricorn, you have to achieve. Right. If you don't do anything. However, to not be working inside of what the Queen of Spade came to do with the eighth life path, with the
all that
as
in
the
combination.
Yeah.
That's not just a Queen of Spade, but that's a Queen of Spade that has a certain rising sign, a certain day of birth personality, a certain blood type, and so that Queen of Spades is unique unto herself
and cannot be compared. So when people go, "Oh, that's not fair," and you can't compare yourself. If we gave 100 people this chart to work through, none of them would be like the other one. Not one.
No, if you compare, you're going to be bitter and vain. You should never compare.
Right, never compare.
You're not here to compare. You're here to exist.
Yes.
And to express.
And experience, exactly.
And experience. That's what you're here for. So like when people break up and the other person wants the other person back, you're really just asking that don't stop my chemicals that I'm getting from you.
Yeah, that's a drug, right? Give me my drug back.
Yeah, give me my drug back. Right. I want my drug back. Mm-hmm. Because you are the one that I felt these drugs inside of me with you. I didn't feel these drugs with somebody else. And I like the way that you make these drugs that's in me come out. Right.
Right. But is that the same reason that causes somebody to run because the drugs are too much? They can't handle it. It's too...
that goes into that first grade, second grade, third. Some people didn't grow up. You're not mature enough to handle it. Mm-hmm. You're not ready for that. Yeah. That's why you can't introduce certain things to a child.
Right. Right.
They're not ready for that kind of chemical reaction.
Like they're introducing sex to kindergartners. Y'all don't see this as a program. Don't let them do that to your babies.
They are introducing chemicals to those babies that they are not ready to experience.
Not ready. And then you get them addicted early. Now everything becomes about the sexual pleasure. And they don't develop and they move so far away from their spiritual atonement that they never gravitate back to being spiritually balanced.
Right.
So what makes people stay in relationships and work it out?
Well, this has a lot to do with your spirituality, your upbringing. It depends on the individual because it could be you're tired of looking. You don't want to start over. This person knows you. Or you've gotten used to or comfortable with that person as they are with you. And if you go somewhere else, it's going to always be something. So you decide you want to stay. The reasons vary from individual to individual. But, it's obviously something worth it, whether it be financial or spiritual or whatever, or because of the kids, you stay because of the kids, or because, there's some chemicals there that were there and you're functioning off the memory of those chemicals, although you're not getting them anymore, or you're still getting those chemicals and you know this is not necessarily healthy or good for you, but you compromise because you like the way those chemicals are coming to you that you're getting.
So it really is inside of the chemical balance or imbalance.
The chemical balance or imbalance. You may have good conversation and good sex with somebody, and you love cuddling with them, and you all have good humor. You have good humor with that person. Mm. Those are very important things. You got good humor. You can always laugh together. You can always talk about anything. The sex is great, and you love to cuddle. But one of you has OCD, and the other one is a pack rat.
Where does that show up on the chart?
You know what I mean? Like that's just like the other things that happens. Like, so that's your upbringing or whatever. So, or you're a vegetarian, the other person is a meat eater. Mm-hmm. This person leaves the cap off the toothpaste, and that just gets under your skin because you think that's nasty. They don't see nothing wrong with that. So there's things that can happen, and you would be like, okay, all right, I enjoy conversation with this person, and the sex is good, and we always laugh, but you can't stand living with them.
Yeah.
And so you put up with it, and you stay for that reason. But then you entertain, what would it be like? Because you're human. It's going to happen because those lack of chemicals is going to give you that wandering mind. Your imagination is going to kick in, or conversation with somebody, because you're going to express this to somebody. You're going to tell your best friend or a family member, so-and-so is just like this, and I just can't stand it. I love him. I love her, but she nasty. She don't keep a clean house, but we get along so well. But everything would be good if she was just clean. I tried to get it, but I just can't. So it's like, do you get to a point where you leave because of that, or you deal with it, or you meet somebody that's clean that you can laugh with and talk, then it's like, oh, now you're faced with a choice. Do I want the chemical of having a clean house and somebody I can laugh with? And somebody that's clean, and so when I get in the sheets ain't dirty.
Oh, don't say the sheets are dirty. Oh no.
Right, I'm just saying. Or because some people can't engage in intimacy when their house is in disarray.
Yeah, people have pet
peeves. If there are dishes in the sink, sometimes, you can be trying to be intimate with somebody. If they have OCD, they can't fully get into the act of sex. Because there's dishes on their mind. It's in the sink. Mm-hmm. On their mind, correct English.
Yeah.
It's there are dishes, or the floor is not vacuumed, or it was a sock in the hallway. Mm-hmm. Everybody's wired differently. And so, let's say you meet somebody who also has OCD. They're going to understand your mindset and relate to you in ways that this person would never be able to. So what do? Do you leave? Do you stay? Or do you cheat?
Or do you hire a freaking housekeeper to come in a couple of times a week to keep the house up?
What if you live in the projects? You can't afford one.
Oh, Jesus. Well, that goes back to my show today where I said, you have to be able to be sustainable to be in a relationship. Right. That's key.
Yeah, so I understand that, but who wants to hire another, but some people may be very private. They don't want a stranger coming in and out of their house, no matter what it's for. Mm. So, there's different reasons, of course, why people cheat, but, the main one...
Don't say it again.
in my perception is that, people are searching for that ultimate high. They want to know who they can have the ultimate high. Well, that's what they consider a soulmate.
Oh, the ultimate high is what they consider a soulmate?
Because it's all about feeling good, right? That's my soulmate. When you say soulmate, in other words, what you're saying is basically you like everything about this person, or mostly everything. Mm-hmm. That's when you're going to start saying soulmate. That's the only time you're going to say soulmate. Because you like so much about them, you're gonna think you found your soulmate.
Mm-hmm. Then what's the difference between a soulmate and a twin flame?
A twin flame causes you to improve yourself to such a high degree. And you all improve each other. And it's not because you all are not supposed to be together or don't never meet, but you all are supposed to come together and affect everybody else and help them improve to a high degree as a couple. And it doesn't even have to be intentional. It could just be you all's energy affects other people when you all are together.
But don't soulmates do that too?
Soulmates do that, but not to that high degree as twin flames. Mm-hmm. Because soulmates can be more than one. Twin flame is only one.
Oh, there we go back to that. It's one special one for everybody. Okay.
I mean, there's several special ones for you. That's why there are compatibilities in all of the 19 codes. Mm-hmm. The trick is, well, I'm not going to say trick, but the key is for you to find the person that matches up with you the most. And then, the rest of it depends upon, if they physically meet your attraction requirements, or what was their upbringing, or their financial, status, their educational exposure. There's other factors that play into that. If, you all have the same beliefs, or you keep a house the same way, you both of you, generally clean, whatever the case may be. Both of you all pack rats, then it works.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
that's the best way I can explain it.
And if both of you are slobs, it works. Right. Nobody cares.
Exactly, right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. If both of you love to cook, it works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or if the woman loves to cook and the man loves to work, and she loves, just being at home cooking because and he loves to eat good food by his wife. Like, she has an audience that appreciates her artistic ability to cook. So she gets a pleasure out of when she cooks something, how much he enjoys it, or vice versa. Mm-hmm. It's different other things. Like I said, this chart is very basic. It's deep in and of itself, but it's also basic because there's so many other aspects that it is connected to. You can put somebody with this same 19 code chart. Let's say that they were raised in China and they were very rich, or they were raised in Yugoslavia and they were very poor, or they were over here in America and they were in prison and then they spent a lot of time in prison, or they grew up in foster homes, but they got the exact 19 code chart. So that chart is affected by environment. Mm-hmm. That chart is affected by family you're born into. That chart is affected by the financial status you were born into or exposed to. So there's different things that affect the chart, and then how the chart is going to respond in those situations.
I can see that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So then do you think people should be looking for their, they should slow down and look for their twin flame? Is that, or their soulmate, or should they just be hooking up with folks?
No.
No to which one?
I think that they both exist for a reason. Mm-hmm. And I think that, if you are not content with a soulmate, then possibly that what will make you content is a twin flame. And that's even if a twin flame or soulmates even exist. But if we're going to speak on them as if they do exist, then that would be my advice. But you have to be ready for a twin flame, and they show up when you're ready.
I was just thinking, the universe is so generous with us, right? So for people who are, not interested in doing the work. They just here following, mainstream media, doing what they're told to do, and going through life the way they're supposed to go to life according to our socially engineered society. The universe has said, yeah, but there's people here to love you still. There are people who can love you on your level right where you are. And if you want to improve that connection, you can actually have somebody to last a lifetime.
That's just it. You may have met your twin flame, but they haven't come into the highest version of themselves.
Yeah.
Just like you. You may be with your twin flame right now, but because they haven't reached their highest version of themselves, they're not going to appear to you as a twin flame because they're not there yet. Because twin flame is the highest of highest versions of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so when that person shows up, you've gone through something. You've reached a certain something inside of you, spiritually, mentally, or whatever it may be, in order for them to even show up.
Mm-hmm.
And vice versa. You all are showing up to each other. They're not just showing up to you. You're showing up to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you may meet them and then it's not meant for you to be with them at that moment because you got some more improvement. But the roadmap or God is showing you this is what's waiting for you in the future.
Yeah.
So get your act together. But sometimes people don't get the sneak peek like that. Yeah. Then they just I wonder who I'm supposed to be with. I wonder who's my soulmate, or I wonder who's my twin flame. Keep working.
Mm-hmm. So what is the basis of an authentic connection with another person? Even if it's not a twin flame or soulmate, what's an authentic connection?
I don't know, whoever gets you the highest.
But you just said that they use sex to get you so you mean without sex? Whoever gets you the highest?
Well, whatever. Well, the highest means like the highest happiness, the highest creativity comes out of you, the highest level of higher aspects of character that comes out of you. The higher, like when you are, whoever brings out the best in you naturally, like it just comes out of you, like it's things that you're shocked are happening, or this person is bringing out of you without effort, not because it was in the argument or because they told you they need this from you. It naturally came out of you being around them.
Mm-hmm.
Those are signs that that's somebody for you or that's somebody good for you. And for some strange reason, sometimes, that person may have only supposed to have been a friend preparing you for somebody else. But again, because you're the opposite sex, you start thinking we're supposed to be together. But then circumstances may prevent that. And so you're left, you're confused. You don't know why because you don't have the answer.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, that's that whole thing about waiting to see why somebody was brought into your life. You can't just automatically assume, well, I'm single, you're single, we are attracted to each other, it must be meant. No, that's not necessarily the case.
Exactly. I tell people all the time, I say, with the energy I have, if I did that, it would be like, I wouldn't get any work done. You know what I'm saying? All the time, But then the other side of that too is some of us are people that get people ready for their people. That's just who we are. You know what I'm saying? And it's just a natural way of being. You know what I'm saying? It's not like a punishment or anything, or even a modernism. It has nothing to do with that. It just comes with
it. So when you embrace the journey, knowing that all of it is not going to be fun and games, that there's some work involved. And when you know there's going to be times you're going to get hurt physically, you're going to get hurt internally.
Yeah.
When you're going to have rewards externally, you're going to have rewards internally.
Mm-hmm.
You have to understand that all that's part of bringing you about into the reality of who you are and why you're here.
Yeah. It all is for our highest good. I don't care how bad it seems. It's
Mm-hmm. Like you don't have divine wisdom. You don't know why this happened at this time or the way it happened. You can't. It has to be revealed to you.
Mm-hmm.
Has to be revealed to you. And once it's revealed to you, then you understand. But you had to grow into the answer of it being revealed. Sometimes it can be revealed to you in that instant, depending upon your maturity level. Where are you at in comprehending this stuff? Or what are your experiences that caused you to be able to understand these things? Or it may take years before the answer to that comes because you weren't ready.
Was not ready. And then, for people, I hear people say this all the time, I'm not going to change for anybody. Well, you probably never be ready then.
Well, if you're not going to change for anybody,
mm-hmm.
then you're never going to meet your perfect match
mm-hmm.
that's perfect for you, or a soulmate, definitely not a twin flame.
Mm-hmm.
Or you'll get tested, and then your twin flame will show up, and then all of a sudden you're changing willingly.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're seeing that this person is bringing so much stuff out of you that you like who you are around that person.
Yeah, because
most like people yourself better.
Most people don't like themselves, do they?
And no, they don't. They don't like themselves. This is why they drink or smoke or have excess sex, or they're lazy, or they're depressed,
mm-hmm.
or they engage in gossip and slander because they're not happy. A happy person really doesn't have anything bad to say about another person.
Mm-hmm.
So that just disturbs your own internal vibe. If I'm going to talk about you negatively,
yeah.
Who has time for that? When you're truly happy, you don't say bad things about other people or to other people. You might have some moments somebody tick you off, then you immediately say, or you think, I should have said that. That wasn't right of me. I should have said something different. But sometimes people take pride in the way they made other people feel stupid or bad.
Mm-hmm.
And
those people really don't like them. They do not like themselves, though. People that actually
they're not right. They're not truly happy.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. They're not happy.
They're not truly happy.
Yeah.
They're not happy. Yeah. When you're happy, you don't find that characteristic or those traits or behaviors as a truly happy person. And I'm not talking about you're happy because society says you should be happy because you got the job promotion, or you live in this house, or your spouse looks like this, or you're connected to plug with that person or this person, or you meet the physical criteria of society to say that you're beautiful or handsome. I'm not saying you're that kind of happiness. But when you are really genuinely happy inside, you don't have a desire to sit and listen to somebody gossiping or slandering another person, nor do you want to do it yourself.
Mm-hmm. Unless it's inside of your coaching practice and you have to get the story out to get to the end of it.
That's different. But yeah.
But even that's a challenge too.
Yeah, but under other circumstances, it's like that vibration. That's a vibration that comes with that.
Yeah.
And that vibration is releasing a chemical.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to go from this drug, and then now you got something working in reverse of that drug. But then sometimes the reversal drugs, like depression, anger, or whatever, becomes people's drug. Like they say, misery loves company.
They become addicted to that too. Because if you grow up in that environment, right, you think that that's the norm.
And you have become addicted to the chemicals of that drug,
mm-hmm.
of depression.
Yeah.
You're addicted to, what causes you to be depressed.
Yeah.
And because you don't know about the other chemicals that make you happy, or how to get the happy chemicals to come out of you, you resort to drinking or smoking, and you stay depressed. And then, that's a whole nother cycle in and of itself.
Wow. So let's sum this up. This is just so juicy. So what I actually heard, the best part of that is that people that bring out the best in you and actually have you express your life at the highest level possibly are the people that should be in your, whether it's a friendship, business, or lover, right? Right?
Yes, that's it right there. Whoever brings out the best in you, that's the person that's in your life for a reason. Now, whether it's for friendship, business, or intimacy, that's yet to be determined or remain to be seen. But they're supposed to be there because they're good for you. Because you don't want somebody that's bad for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you want somebody that's bringing out. But then, you know, there has to be some kind of conflict, a balance of certain conflicts, because then growth can come out of the conflict.
Yeah.
That's why we have sports. There are opposing teams.
Right.
Just like certain nutrients in your body. Like glutamine and taurine compete for absorption in your body.
Okay.
Both of them are beneficial, but they compete for absorption.
Mm. And where do you get both of those from?
like MSM, methylsulfonylmethane,
mm-hmm.
competes with germanium inside your body. So if you are taking, you get germanium for just a regular food supply, but if you take an excess of MSM, you may deplete your germanium levels because they compete for absorption, although both of them are very good for you. So there has to be some kind of conflict sometimes because it brings about growth. Sometimes people can argue and develop more respect for one another.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or they can argue and hate each other more.
Well, it depends on their style of communication because some people don't know how to argue to actually have both people win. Because an argument is really about let me get what's in me out, not necessarily to beat you up and defeat you, but to share what's on my heart. And then you listen to the other person. But most people, they get combative, you know, and it's the combativeness that causes.
Yeah, because they feel like they're caught up in how it's making them feel, how disrespectful it is. And sometimes it is. There's no denying that, you know, but it depends on what is your aim in the argument. The argument is happening because there's some conflict, but is your aim in the argument to win the argument, to prove a point, or to let the other person know how what you're doing is affecting me, and let's see how you're going to receive that.
Right.
Is this going to bring about more respect, or are you going to disregard, and then it brings about more conflict?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's definitely. And see, these type of arguments, you have enough of them, and it's like, yeah, you know what? I'm tired of this drug.
Yeah, because that's
I done put up with it.
Now it's creating stress. Right. That drug is creating,
exactly. Yeah. That's a chemical. You releasing too much.
Yeah.
I don't want that kind of drug. I want the feel good drug. And then there it is. Then next thing you know, somebody shows up.
Mm-hmm.
Or you meet somebody, and it can either be a test, or you know, because if you're married, then that's a test. Because the right way is you should leave first. But nobody wants to wait. I'm tired. I've been waiting too long. I'm tired. I've been dealing with this person for 10 years. It's getting on my nerve. I'm tired of waiting. No, I want them drugs now. I need my new drug now.
But why would somebody... But see, that's the thing that doesn't make so much sense. You're in a relationship for 10 years, and there's been these signs of breakdown for all of this time. And then instead of leaving, you decide to just step out of the relationship. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense because now you're taking
it makes a lot of sense because it's the easiest route.
It's easy.
It's like the most accessible drug is sex.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's better.
But that's why prostitution is so popular, right?
That's why who?
Prostitution is so popular.
Oh, well, yeah, the instant gratification. Well,
I can go pay for it, and then, I don't have to engage in a relationship.
You don't have to have you don't have to have prostitution nowadays because of this hookup culture.
Oh, it's a hookup. Oh, yeah, right. That's true.
Yeah, it's a hookup culture. It's just hook up. You ain't got to date nobody. You ain't got to go, I like you, you know. Basically, when you give out or give someone or receive somebody's phone number, you all both know subconsciously you made up in your mind, you somebody I would want to lay down with. Why else would I even approach you? Why else would you even flirt with me or approach me?
Wow. Is it that serious out there?
It's that simple and easy now. It hasn't been watered down to, you know, hey, you look good, I look good, I like the way I... The external, the easy accessible drug, which is that instant gratification. Now, you want them higher drugs? You want them real deep drugs? You want them fireworks that got about 10 different things it does in the sky before it disappears? Mm-hmm. Well, that's something different, but people don't want that. They want the firecracker.
Yeah, because it takes work to get there. You have to be spiritually cultivated, spiritually grounded, spiritually atoned. Yeah. You know, you have to be bringing something.
We're talking about, think about this. We're talking about a rocket, which means it had to ascend.
Yeah.
It had to break the force of gravity to go up in the air, and then at a certain time explode and give this big sky display. But who wants to do the work to design a rocket? They just want a little pop, pow, whether that be an orgasm or somebody like you, just like you like them. They want the firecracker or the couple of firecrackers. They don't want the rocket that's going to explode in the sky because that's too much work.
But, you know, there is the challenge that I often see in relationship where it's easier for men to go into the hookup and women think, oh, this is going to be something. And the man get what he wants and leaves, and the woman is left trying to figure out what happened. I thought we were going to, you know, that. What's the difference in there? Because that's certainly beyond the astrology. That has to be more in the gender.
Now, you saying that the woman wants to stay and the man wants to leave?
No, I'm talking about inside of the conversation of the hookup culture. So a lot of times the woman thinks that it's going to go into something beyond the hookup.
Oh, that's because men are not being honest with what they want. If you just want to have sex, you should say that. Don't be treating that girl or that woman like she's somebody, you know, you want to have something long-term with. But they use those long-term tactics to get what they want out of the woman, and they shouldn't do that. Mm-hmm. And so that woman is left thinking, oh, this is going to be, if you know, you got to put it in that person's mind, look, I just want sex. I'm not trying to be your significant other.
That got to be the first thing out of your mouth.
Well, it's got to be one of them at least. You know, if you know that other person is interested and ready to give you some, or you going in that direction,
yeah,
then you tell them. But, you know, if you start, you know, texting them and telling them I was just thinking about you, what you doing, you know, then you are releasing chemicals in them that they're getting used to.
Right.
You know?
So then
you're releasing chemicals in them that they're getting used, and then you get what you want, and now you're done, and then they're left with, well, dang, okay, you got me on this chemical high, and you just can't, once you get addicted to any drug, you got to be weaned off of it.
Right.
And so the drugs inside of you that are getting released, if they're coming out on a regular basis, your blood is saturated with those drugs.
So that's like a withdrawal. You got to go through the withdrawal.
You got to go through a withdrawal now, and then you're hurt because they pulled them drugs from you, and now you're hurt and you're bitter. Now more drugs are coming out. A bitter drug is coming. A hurt drug is coming out. An angry at men drug is coming out.
And this is why, you know, and I remember the first time that an elder told me to do dating celibacy. Like, you know, do not date anybody for a year. I thought that was just the craziest thing because I'm like, well, you know, I have friends. You know, she said, no, nobody for a year. But the reason that you have to do that is so that you can wean yourself from that drug. and actually heal yourself and nurture yourself and bring yourself back into a pattern of homeostasis, right? So
that's true. Yeah, everything is balanced. You gotta you gotta go into relationship knowing it could end at any moment. That person can die, or that person can move on, or they may have a job and now they got to go out of the country and you can't come with them.
Right. So the whole fairy tale up under you forever is bull crap.
Really, what people are addicted to, or what they're calling, love or whatever, is that how many of them chemicals were coming out that you got used to, and so now you're like, I'm in love. That's a set of chemicals. The Chinese say that when you're in love, you absorb nutrients better.
Well, the feeling of love,
isn't that deep?
Yeah.
That your body absorbs nutrients better when you're in love, which means that when you're releasing serotonin, oxytocin, endorphins, and dopamine, they help your body to absorb the nutrients from the food better.
And that's why when you see couples that are really happy, they're healthy. They look vibrant. They look like love. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you feel it when you're around.
You feel it when you're around them. There's no faking it.
Yeah.
Right.
No, you don't faking it. Yeah. So it's all. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And you have your signs. You got 19 signs, which is your basic roadmap to all this other stuff that's waiting on you. It has to unfold, but your navigational system is already in you. And how you're going to respond and react, and you have to grow into that. Like last year, certain things may have upset you or made you depressed. That the year after that, they don't even bother you anymore.
Because you've expanded. You've stretched. You now know how to navigate through that.
Into the reality.
That's right.
You're growing into the reality as to why you are here.
Yeah.
But you have to be ready for that answer. You have to grow into that answer. But that answer carries a certain level of maturity, a certain mindset, and a certain level of responsibility before it can be revealed to you.
And you have to demonstrate your capacity to hold it. I tell people, I said, when you actually, this happens a lot. People, they want to get in a relationship. They really want to get in a relationship. And as soon as they get in a relationship, what is the first thing they do? They complain.
Yeah, they complain.
They
didn't get the drugs. They didn't get the drugs they thought they were going to get.
Oh my goodness! And this is wrong, and this is wrong, and this, and then the person, right, can feel this energy, so the person leaves. So now they're complaining about, and it's like, wait a minute, you have to realize that you're actually the same person that complained when you weren't in a relationship. You complained when you were in a relationship, and you complained when they left.
Well, here's the thing. That goes back to what you were saying. You didn't wait to find out why that person is in your life.
You moved too fast.
And had you waited, but no, because you were feeling some arousal down there.
Thirsty. You were thirsty.
Right. You feeling some arousal down. You couldn't wait to get to the good part, as they say. Couldn't wait to get to the good part. You jumped the gun. You at the starting line, and the gun didn't even go off, and you started running around the track.
Right. And there was no place to really run. It wasn't time to run yet.
Right. Wasn't. Then you find out later, and unfortunately sometimes babies come out of it, but you found out later that person was not supposed to be your lover. That person was supposed to be a business partner for you, or person was supposed to go on a spiritual journey with you, or that person was supposed to just be a good friend, or like the brother or the sister you never had, but you couldn't wait to lay down with that person, so now here you are.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And for those listening, and Brother Samir keeps talking about the 19, what do you call them? 19 behaviors, right? Behavior codes.
19 codes of behavior.
Yeah, 19 codes of behavior. If you would like that form, please text 773-969-6211. Text me your email address, and I will send you that form. And if you would like to have private consultations with Brother Samir to actually go through this and work through knowing yourself, just call that number as well and let us know, and we'll get you all an appointment with him.
Yeah, whoever submits their phone number, I'll get that, and then I'll give you a call, and we can talk.
Yeah, I think that would be great, because you've been great giving us all of this information. It's like, oh my God. So everybody right now who's listening to this, whether it's live or if you listen after this, slow down. Right, Samir? Slow down. Stop right now.
Yes, please slow down.
Yeah.
By all means, slow down.
Yes.
Take your time. It's not that serious. And like you were saying earlier in your show, you have to be patient.
You have to be patient. And mainly with yourself, because some of us have come through a serious battle in our early years. I guess I'm, a few, right? So you have to take time to love on yourself and just to really get the true essence of who you are for yourself. So don't deny that precious time. You deserve it. You deserve it for you. And we'll have Brother Samir back again. I'm sure he has a number of exciting projects that he's working on that he's going to be sharing with us in the near future. So when he's ready, I will let you know. And in the meantime, just remember, we are patiently waiting for nothing, right? What were you going to say, Samir?
I was going to say nothing. That's just an interesting title, but it's very good.
Well, the full quote is, fully joyful, patiently waiting for nothing. So
okay.
I
That's
knew
good.
how to do the fully joyful part, but I didn't know how to do the patiently waiting for nothing. So I wrote the book for myself and then shared.
Excellent. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate the time, and we shall continue.
Yes, we shall continue. So thank you. And thank you for listening, everybody. And we'll get back to you next week. I'll be talking to my sister, Leilani Garrett, who's going to talk to us about feeling safe and comfortable in our employment, in our work environment. So look for us next week at this same time, same bat channel, and take care of yourself. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.